The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans. It is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. The Ride Home Rants podcast wants to thank you for listening and let everybody know that we do offer monthly subscriptions to help support the show in other ways other than listening and downloading each episode. What you will get with each subscription is you will get bonus episodes that aren't released to everybody. You will also have a chance to ask me anything each and every month where I will put out a special episode just to answer your questions. You will also get more exclusive content that is not released to everybody. To subscribe to the show, go and click on the link in the description of this episode, and I look forward to your added support and to help us keep this show going. The Ride Home Rants podcast is also brought to you by Buddy's Beard Care. Buddy's Beard Care provides premium men's grooming products at an affordable price. Products are made in Ohio, and Buddy's Beard Care supports local. The majority of our supplies are from other Ohio-based companies. You can find them on social media at Buddy's Beard Care or online at buddysbeardcare.com. Use the promo code BONO15 and he will save you 15%. I've been using these products for a little over 6 months now, and my beard has never felt healthier. It has never grown faster, and according to my wife, it has never felt softer. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by former guest of the show in Matt Landowski in Sweet Hands Sports. Elevate their game with Sweet Hands Sports. Our sports gloves are designed for champions, providing ultimate grip and durability. Achieve greatness with every match. Choose Sweet Hands Sports for the winning edge. Grip your victory at sweethandsports.com. Use the promo code BONO10 and he will save you 10%. He has sent me a complimentary pair of golf gloves. They are so comfortable, durable, and breathable. You won't find a better pair of gloves out there. Again, sweethandsports.com, promo code BONO10. Lastly, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Deemed Fit, a clothing company from first responders for first responders. These products are so comfortable. They look great. They have great messages on them. They are provided to support first responders, especially those who worked through COVID. All of the proceeds are going to helping veterans and first responders with their mental and physical health. This is a great cause. I support anything that has to do with our first responders and our veterans. Again, deemedfit.co, promo code Mike Bono will save you 20%. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bonham. I got a great guest for us today. He's coming to us again from Upgraded Industries Gym up in Cleveland, Ohio, and that is Chris the Grit Droege joins the show. Chris, thanks for joining, brother.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem at all. Hey, so for any of my listeners out there that may not know of you, we do have a pretty big following up there in Cleveland. Tell them where you're from. How you grew up and everything like that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Northeast Ohio. I'm from Youngstown. It's
Okay.
about an hour and 20 or so from the Cleveland area. And yeah, man, not too much to report on. I mean, I just got into wrestling and shit when I was in middle school and then stuck with it. came to Lake Erie College, which was up here, wrestled here, and then right towards the end of my career, I got in contact with like a couple MMA gyms in the area and like just started working out with guys, getting them ready for their fights. And that's how I got linked up with Upgraded. I was working with DJ and Tony, getting them ready for some fights. And then they were like, well, when you're done wrestling in college, you should just fight out of here. And I was like, cool. And then I've just been there ever since, man. So
Not a bad way to get into it for sure. So you wrestled. Did you do any other sports when you were growing up?
yeah, I ran track for a little bit, but like wrestling is just the one thing that like really took my attention. And it's like once you really start getting in the thick of it, you're training more than just like the season. You know what I mean? It's like wrestling season's in the winter, and then freestyle and Greco, which is like the Olympic styles, that happens during the spring. So then I was like, well, that's more important to me than track. And then like, yeah, then you just find yourself doing like summer tournaments in the fall, and it just becomes an all year thing, you know?
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Grew up a swimmer, and it's another winter sport when you're in school, but there's always like a spring season. There's always summer seasons and everything like that. Fall's really the only time that we kind of have off. I did play a little bit of football in high school in the fall, mainly just to stay in shape for my swim season. And it's one of those sports that I feel like wrestling. It doesn't get the recognition that it deserves, except for when the Olympics come around. But I've always had a respect for wrestlers, especially watching MMA and growing up as a combat sports fan. I don't think that the actual like the Greco-Roman and all that wrestling gets the recognition that it deserves. You kind of have that same feeling.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, even if you're in like the sport itself, like now freestyle and Greco is getting way more popular. But even when I was in high school, like I really didn't hear about it until like the end of my freshman year, and all these guys were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this. Like practice is coming up," and I was just like, "Oh, whatever." And I went there, and it was like completely different. And like even like the word around, like all the best kids in the state would do it, and like obviously like Ohio is like premier for wrestling. Like we're for sure one of the better
Yeah.
states. So like I don't know. I noticed that like, okay, all the best guys are doing this. Like I should probably be doing this too. But even when I was in high school, like people weren't like they just, I don't know, it wasn't as popular. And like people would still be like, ah, well, that's not what we do during the season. So it's like, I'm not going to waste my time doing it. But just like anything else, man, if you look at it as like cross training, it's like one, it's just more time doing something. And two, it makes you use your body a completely different way. So now I think guys are getting more hip to it. Like I'm coaching at the college that I wrestled at, and like we had club practice this morning, which is like for freestyle and Greco, and there's way more guys doing it now than like when I was in college. Like a lot of my college teammates were like, "Nah, I never wrestled freestyle and Greco. Like I'm not going to start now." And it's like, whatever, man. But now we got a bunch of guys who are just they like it, and it's like just more ingrained in the culture. So I don't know. I think like overall, it's just getting like more like notoriety, and like people are really understanding it better and have accepted the fact that like if you want to continue wrestling at a really high level, you got to at least get in with freestyle. And it's like if you want to be the best in the world, like that's your only option. The worlds and Olympics are only freestyle and Greco. It's not like folk style in America. So
Right. Yeah. I've noticed that. Do you think that with the rise of the UFC and mixed martial arts that helped with the freestyle? Because you hear, Bruce Buffer announcing a lot of and with the guys, and a lot of them nowadays. I'm hearing he's a freestyle fighter. He's a freestyle. He's Greco-Roman. Like I hear a lot of those now coming up into the UFC and mixed martial arts. Do you think maybe with Dana White knew something, and that it's helping that sport kind of take off a little bit more?
I wouldn't say like, I don't know. The freestyle, like if somebody's saying they're a freestyle fighter, that's not like freestyle wrestling. It's like a completely different, that's
Okay.
more of like a mix of things. Like it's just like MMA. I don't know. But for sure, like guys doing good in wrestling in MMA is making it more popular. And then obviously in the US, we're the only ones that do folk style. But like that's getting more people into it, and then inherently more people from folk style are getting into freestyle. And then, I mean, I would imagine it's having the same effect across the world. Like, there's got to be kids like in Russia and Australia and stuff like watching the UFC and like, I want to do that. The best guys are wrestlers. I should probably start wrestling. And like, it's just naturally growing the sport, which is great, man. That's what we want. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want it to just grow in America. I want it to grow everywhere.
I absolutely wanted that to be worldwide for sure. Um, so besides, the mixed martial arts space, do you do anything outside of that for work other than, like you said, you coach at the college you went to? Is there anything else that you do for like a day job? Because I know with fighters, kind of like being a comedian, it's not like a set 9 to 5. Like you don't have like consistent, I don't want to say consistent work, but you know what I mean? Like there could be
Yeah.
a month or two before in between fights for you guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, well, one, I'm still an amateur, so like I can't even get paid. So it's like I'm
Okay.
just doing this. I'm just doing this for like purely experience and like getting ready to go pro, which I'm going to be doing here soon.
Okay.
But even then, like at the lower level of like your regional pro scene, like you're not making all that much money, man. Like maybe like a couple thousand for a fight, like making weight and winning. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's really nothing. But yeah, work wise, for the last 3 years, I've been running my own painting company. So
Okay.
I worked for the guy who was my college coach originally. He stepped down and just took over, like was painting full time with his business, and I did that in the summers around school and stuff. And then I just was getting like a lot of side jobs, just like people's, like parents or whatever around here. Like, I just need this done, this painted, this. And then it just like grew to the point where I was like, I could probably just do this on my own. And so I just took
Yeah.
the leap of faith. Like, I graduated, like, I got 2 master's degrees from school, but I wanted to do something that's flexible with my time. Like, if I had a 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to train the same way I do, I wouldn't be able to coach. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go all in with this and just do my own thing. And it's been great, man. Like I'm understanding how to run a business. I really understand like how money works, how taxes work. Like I'm gaining a lot, like in experience in that way. And then like, I mean, I set my own schedule. Like if I want to work more, I will. If I don't, then I don't. And it's cool, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm living this life of luxury, but like I got a truck, I got a house, like I'm not worried about, you know, like not like in college when you're like trying to figure out where your next meal is going to be and when you
Right.
next time you're going to get money in your pocket. Like I don't worry about those things anymore. And it takes a lot of pressure off the idea of like I have to go pro and I got to do this to make money and I got to win this fight to have money. It's like I can do this purely for the love and just try to be the best in the world without having that added bit of pressure of like, where's money coming in or working a job I don't like. It's like, I don't know, man. It's ideal. And it's like, if you can't find a situation that's ideal for you, you gotta just make one, you know?
No, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I am, 13 years into comedy and I'm still considered an up and comer. So like that, it takes a lot. And like you saying at the low levels of being a professional, it's not a lot of money. Same thing with comedy. I do have a day job that I have to go to. Takes a good bit of my time. But at the same sense, like you had that confidence to take that leap of faith to be your own boss. So Kudos to you for being able to do that. There's not a lot of people that have that drive. Do you think MMA and wrestling kind of gave you that mindset to be able to take that leap of faith?
100%, man. Like, wrestling is interesting in the fact that it is like a team sport, but it's not in the same regard. Like, it is a team sport because you're practicing with your teammates, you have coaches, like, in a dual sense, it is a team sport. Like, you're watching your teammates, like, there's a team score and stuff. But the stuff that really counts, it's not. Like nationals isn't really, like, there's a team scoring to it, but it's like really it's focused on you. Like, your focus is winning a national title, winning matches, winning a state title. Like, MMA is the same way. Like, it's really not a team sport. Like, obviously, like, I have a team and I have coaches and stuff, but it's not the same. Like, it's not like college where you have like a structured, like, every single person is doing this right now, right? So a lot of it falls on you to like make sure you're getting ample amount of like your striking work, your conditioning, your grappling, your wrestling. And wrestling's kind of the same way. It's like you can only do so much in practice, and then it's like if you want to be elite, you gotta do stuff on your own, man, and you gotta have that drive. If you want to get better, nobody's gonna care about you as much as you are, like. And I wasn't like a really like especially when I got to college, like I wasn't one of the guys who was highly recruited. Like, I was one of the guys they like overlooked. And if you want to set yourself up to win, like, they're not going to go out of their way for the guys who they don't think are going to do good. They're focused on the guys who are eating up the most scholarship money. So it's like I had to take a lot on my own, like stay after practice, set up extra workouts, and like always doing stuff on my own. And it's like eventually you just get better and better, and then people are willing to work with you more. But you still got to have that drive of like, I'm taking care of me. Like, no, life is like that, man. Nobody's going to take care of you. You know what I mean? You could have it made. You could be born into a millionaire family, but you could still have a horrible life. Like, if you don't take care of yourself and you don't have like a drive and a focus. So it's just like that's just how I've always felt. Like, no matter what situation I'm in, I feel like I have the faith to pull myself out and just continually like improve my situation. So that's why I wasn't scared to like start my own business, because like, I mean, I was already dealing with being broke, man, like being not having money in college. Like, we could be here all day telling you some stories of me and my teammates living in a house together, like struggling just to put money together to get food. And it's like when I was done with school, it's like, because you can't work during wrestling season, it's like really hard to do that. And wrestling season is most of the college year. It's like I didn't have money, so it's like any money was profit to me. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna hustle as much as I can. Like, the more money that's in my pocket, the less I gotta worry. All of this falls on me. So it's like, whether I make like $1,000 today, I make $0 today, that falls on me, man. So it's like, yeah, that probably did come from wrestling, because it's like I just been used to that, and it's like, I don't know. That's what I think like really improves the quality of your life, man. Like, hustling and having faith that things can get better if you just put the time into it.
100%. We actually just talked with Luke Freshour on here. Has a similar mindset. Like, do you work with Luke any at?
Yeah, that's my boxing coach.
Okay, I was gonna say I figured he said he works with a bunch of the guys, especially a lot of the wrestlers there. But similar mindset at this you, because we talked about it with him on his show, and I grew up with a martial arts and a taekwondo background, and it helps me to this day in comedy, because though it is, like you said, like wrestling, a team sport. When you're in there with your teammates and you're in the gym and you're working out. But at the end of the day, when you get into the ring or anything, it's just you in there, and you have to make it work for yourself. And that's kind of the way I've leaned into my comedy career and trying to grow that, because at the end of the day, I'm not signed by a label. I'm not I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. It's just me. So if I don't have that many shows coming up, that's on me, because I'm the one getting the shows. So I'm the one dealing with my own paycheck for that. I love that attitude. I do, because I've I've had a bad loss in Taekwondo. Me and Luke talked about it on that show, and it kind of turned me away from martial arts and the mixed martial arts and the fighting combat sports realm. Uh, but having that on like a national stage, now if I bomb on stage, it's like, all right, well, I mean, I've been knocked out in front of thousands of people. If somebody doesn't like my joke, who gives a shit? Like, you know,
Right, man.
it gives me that mindset to just keep moving forward, because I look back at it now and it's like, yeah, I probably should have stuck with Taekwondo and stuck that out in the combat sports realm. I was really good at it up until that one loss. I had 29 fights and I was 28-1, and
Yeah, that is good.
and
That's good, man.
and I lost on the 29th fight, and that was the last fight for me. So, you know, I have that mindset, but when I was in Taekwondo, I was also, that last fight, I was I was 14 or 15 years old. So, you know, I was a young, cocky kid, and you know that it struck my ego at that age as a teenager. And you know, if I was doing it now, yeah, it's a bad loss. We'll shake it off and we'll move on. Um, but you know, it is what it is, and it molded me into how I pursue my comedy career. Like, you know, if I could go 28-1 as a fighter, who's to stop me from making it as a national headlining comedian? You know what I mean?
Right, man. It's the
That's
same
the
idea.
always the end goal, and that's the, yeah, you're right. It's the same idea as trying to chase a championship as it is to chase that career path. And I love that attitude in people. I love seeing that in people, and I'm always rooting for those people, because I've been an underdog my entire life, and I love rooting for the underdogs. I don't know about you, if you've noticed that. Like you said, you weren't highly recruited in college, and you made it work for you. And now you're coming up about to be a professional. I know you're going to be a professional. I almost should just want to call you a professional. I can see it in you even through Zoom that you'll be a professional fighter. All right, we'll put this in here. We're getting started again here with Chris the Grit. We had a few power outages here in Ohio where it happened, but we're getting back to it. We were just talking about you know, how fighting and combat sports have shaped us and our careers and pathways after that. But we'll keep rolling here with everything. I don't know what was recorded and what's not. We'll hear that in the playback afterwards. So, Chris, you were brought to us by Tony the Latin Assassin Tortellisi. So, other than training with him, how do you know Tony?
I mean, that was really how I met him, was just training. Like I said at the beginning, it was one of the alumni at Lake Erie was like, yeah, man, I started training jujitsu. Like, you should come check it out. And there's some fighters that you should work with, like, if you want to get into like MMA. And I was like, all right, cool. And I go up to upgrade it, and the owner, DJ, and Tony were like both getting ready for fights. And so I was just like, all right, cool. Started working with them, wrestling a couple times a week. And then they were like, hey, you should just come to sparring. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, and then, yeah, and then I don't know, man. Like, from that, like, DJ is my head coach, but like Tony now, because he's retired, like he had just retired after this last fight, like,
Yeah.
he's taken like a coaching role, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's just like he was one of the guys that just kind of took me under his wing. It's like he was really the only guy fighting out of upgraded when I got there, him and DJ, and then just we've gotten more fighters just from, you know, just the team growing and stuff. But like, that's how I know Tony. It's like I every day he's in there, like I train with him. Like, we were just training yesterday morning. Like, he has no reason to go through the stuff that I'm doing anymore, you know what I mean? Because he's done. But
Okay.
he's just like, yeah, he's just there to help push me, man. It's like, so yeah, it's kind of like my older brother. Like,
Yeah, I love talking to Tony when we had him on the show. I actually got to see his last fight at Mountaineer. I was actually at that fight.
okay, you probably
Good.
saw me in the corner then. I was going fucking nuts.
Okay, you were that guy then. Okay, I know exactly. Yeah, because a lot of the fighters that we've had on were at Tony's last fight, and it was everyone in his corner so far that we've had on
Oh
the
yeah,
show so
yeah,
far. We've had you now. We've had Tony, Billy, Billy Friedson. Luke Freshour. We're all on the have been on the show so far. So you're kind of the last one, and we actually have a recording scheduled with DJ. So we're just rolling right through
yeah, man.
your guys'
Yeah,
gym.
dude, and it was cool because it's like my I like one of Tony's fights. I want to say it was like his third or fourth fight. Like I was still in college, and they were just like, "Hey, man, like, do you want to come down and corner Tony?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, and I just, like I hadn't had any fights yet. Like, I was just still in college, and I was just like, "Yeah, man, like, I can definitely tell you what to do on the wrestling side of things." And like, I was like hip to grappling at that time, but it's like, I didn't, and I was watching fighting a lot. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I want to experience this. I want to see what it's like. I don't want it to be the first time I ever experience MMA, like when I'm stepping in there.
Right.
So, yeah, man, it's been cool. It was super cool. Like when Tony asked me, like, because everybody knew that was going to be his last fight. Like the word kind of got out towards at the beginning of camp, and then at the end it was just like confirmed. Like he was like, yeah, for sure, this is the last one I'm doing. And it was just sick when he was like, yeah, I want you to be in my corner. I was like, cool, man. Like, I'm there.
Right. It's always good to have that vote of confidence when somebody you train with, like, hey, I want you there.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Like, I like it. I just, like, even now, like, it's, coaching. Like, I'm not the head coach, I'm just an assistant, but it's like, it's cool to me when guys come out of their way at the tournament and they're like, yo, man, I want you in my corner. And it's like, some, it's great. And then sometimes it's like, it's back to back to back guys, and you're
right.
like trying to run from mat to mat. And it's like, but I like being there, man. Like I like supporting people, and I always felt like especially when I was in college, like I always felt like I needed to lean on my coaches, and I
Yeah.
felt like if they were there in my corner, it's like I trusted them 100%, and I still feel that way. Like there's things that the outside perspective can see, and as long as you have a good relationship with them, it's like you know how to like take in what they're trying to tell you, and you got to trust that they're seeing things that you're not, and just go with it. So like that's why I thought it was cool, because it's like Tony and I have a good relationship, and we train so much together. It's like I can tell what situations he's in and try to give him the best possible feedback I can in the midst of a fight.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you know him better than anybody, being in the corner and training with him for sure.
Yeah.
So I've asked every other guy at your gym this question, so you're not off the hook for this either. But what type of background do you think gives MMA fighters the best chance to be the most well-rounded coming into the sport?
I mean, obviously, like I want to say wrestling. I mean, I don't know, man. I would say like the best situation possible you could have would be like growing up with some kind of like something like karate and taekwondo and wrestling. And the
Okay.
reason I'm saying that is like striking is inherently, I think, easier to learn, but like it's easier. I hear so many people say it. Like I just heard Ilya Taporia on Joe Rogan's podcast say that. Like it's easier for a grappler to start learning wrestling, or I mean, I take that back. For like a grappler to learn striking than it is for a striker to learn grappling, right? I don't know if that's true. Like maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the one thing I will say is like people who have been doing like traditional martial arts since they were kids, they have this like crazy dexterity of their legs. And like if fighting at a high level is like understanding range and control, taekwondo kind of gives you that best ability because it's so kick heavy.
Yeah.
And like I mean karate to an extent is, depending on what kind of karate you're coming up with. But yeah, I would say like ideally it would be like a mix of that and wrestling. But I think you just get put ahead if you do any kind of martial art young. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I can confirm the dexterity when it comes to Taekwondo. Like I said, to be able at my gym to even get your black belt, you had to be able to do a perfect split and hold it. Like they weren't like just get into a split. They made you get up on the bag and put a heel on each bag, and then they just separated it away.
Yeah,
And
man. Like,
to be, it's intense. And as a teenager, that's not fun to try to learn that dexterity and that flexibility. But it helps for sure. I mean, even me now, 36 years old, I still have a little bit of that flexibility. I mean, not as much as I did back then, but getting older, um, it still helps out with movement and that. And it's a very kick heavy martial art. Um, but it taught me at a very young age because I grew very, very quickly. I wasn't supposed to exceed 5'9". I'm 6'5". So
damn.
the doctor was a little off. So it helped me with coordination with that aspect, but it also taught me, a defensive style of fighting. It was more self defense than just being able to, as people say, kick the shit out of somebody. Um, but it taught me how to use my legs because I'm all legs to keep people at distance and keep them away from me. I didn't even have to throw a kick. Even if I just lifted my leg, they knew how long my legs were and they were trying to stay at that distance. So I can definitely agree with that for sure with Taekwondo. I'm a little biased because I have a black belt in Taekwondo, but it's I can't disagree with that because I've lived it.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I'm always trying to listen to like the highest level guys. What are they doing? And like, obviously, like Joe Rogan's podcast is like, he's always having like UFC fighters on there and like ONE FC fighters and Bellator guys and all
Yeah.
this. And it's like, I listen to his, and then recently I've been listening to Jake Shields' podcast a lot. And I mean, yeah, man, it's like you'd be a fool not to listen to the things that they have to say. And that's just like, I mean, that's just one of the things that I'm trying to absorb is like, what are the best guys doing? Like, if they're doing it, I'm definitely not above them. Like, I
Right.
should be doing the same things they're doing. If they're focusing on this, I'm going to try that out. And I do it all the time. I try to bring it to my training all the time. Like, the mentality of like, all right, this guy's doing this. I'm going to try this. Like,
And
and I think maybe that helps from wrestling. Like, wrestling is like a very mental sport. It's different than any other kind of martial art in that way. I mean, shit, I didn't even think of it as a martial art really, like when I was doing it.
right.
You think about it as a sport, but like anything else that's like remotely like it is considered a martial art, like jujitsu, grappling, like,
Yeah.
so judo. I mean, it's like all those things are looked at as martial arts. Wrestling, for whatever reason, isn't. But
Right.
I think that's something that it really gives you is just like this, like drive and like also this ability to like digest things in a different way and like really like commit to using it. I just feel like other martial arts just don't give you that same level of discipline in that regard. You know what I mean?
No,
Wrestling isn't about bowing in and like saying yes sir to your master or your sensei and stuff, which there's totally legitimate reasons for that, and like I respect martial arts for giving especially kids and teenagers like a discipline.
yeah.
But like wrestling isn't like that. It gives you discipline of like I got to make weight, like I got to get this fucking weight off, man. Like it's
Right.
not just gonna fall off. Like I got to go for a run. I got to go to the sauna. I got to get an extra drill in. I got to eat less, drink less. Like that's the kind of discipline it gives you. And it's like, all right, you got this whole summer until next season. Like, what are you going to do at this time? Like, it's easy to feel motivated, but to have the discipline to be like every single day you're waking up with this goal and you're chasing it down, like wrestling instills that in you, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like,
Yeah. No, I got a big respect for wrestlers just with what they go through, especially with the weight cuts and everything like that, and having to make weight. It's insane to me thinking how you can do that, and the different ways that they cut weight and everything like that. It's impressive to me. You didn't mention one thing though, about Joe Rogan and listening to him, and I don't know why more people aren't listening to him more with martial arts. He taught George St. Pierre his spinning back kick.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
and not a lot of people know that. Like, a champion fighter went to Joe Rogan on how to improve one of his strikes. And the dude knows what he's talking about. He's actually a very skilled martial artist, and nobody gives him the credit for that because they all know him as the Fear Factor guy.
Or the commentator. Like, well,
Yeah.
like Fear Factor was a thing when I was a kid, but like, I mean, I wasn't really watching it. Like, I was young,
Right.
but like, still, like, he has a black belt in Taekwondo, and he has a black belt under Eddie Bravo, who's one of the most respected jiu-jitsu guys. And from that lineage, both Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan are under John Jock Machado, who was he's part of that Gracie family. He was grew up with the Gracies, and he's one of the most respected grapplers in the world. And it's like, if they give you the nod, that's saying a lot, man.
Right.
That's I don't know. I listen to him, it's like, fuck. Like, I see his videos. I watched a video of him and Eddie Bravo talking to Hickson Gracie, who is widely known as arguably the best Gracie. I don't know. There's something to be said for Henzo Gracie and Hoyler.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, he's the pinnacle of jiu-jitsu, and he was a really big name in the early 2000s of MMA. And it was just like a side video after their podcast of just going over grappling exchanges and this and that. And it's like that information is out there, man. Like, you gotta just you gotta watch it. Like,
100%.
all the best people in every field do studying.
Mm-hmm.
Why would MMA be any different? Why would wrestling be any different? Like, I try to tell those guys. I just told them this week at practice. I'm like, hey man, as much as me and the other coaches can show you, you got to work on stuff on your own. If you're having trouble with this position, look it up. Type it into YouTube. There's a million videos. My college coaches were huge about that. Watch videos, find a wrestler you like, find somebody who has a similar style as you, figure out what they do, watch a technique breakdown of what they do. So I do that all the time. I'm watching fights. Obviously it's great to watch fights, right? While they're live. But I like watching them replaying them. You know what I mean? One of the guys I've been grateful enough to be able to train with is Christian Lee. He's the 170 and 185 pound champ of 1FC. I've been brought out to be part of his camp and his younger brother's camp, who's now in 1FC, 4 times now. And Christian is an unbelievable athlete, man. And watching his fights back, and then even the fights that I've the camps that I've been a part of, watching his fights, and thinking about what we were doing in the room and then what he was doing in these fights, it's that makes sense. We sit there and break down film. This guy's a 2-division world champ. He probably knows everything.
Right.
He's not closed-minded to the fact of hey, there's stuff that I can be working on, so everybody else has got to work on it. I was on the treadmill this week when Billy was putting me through conditioning, and in our long conditioning session where it's just a steady state thing, I'm watching fights. I watched GSP and Carlos Condit. And right after that, and I was warming up doing my shadow boxing, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to try some stuff that GSP was doing. Some of the footwork stuff, some of the ways that he was setting things up. And then I watched a little technique video, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out in sparring. And it's if that's what the best people in the world are doing, and I want to be the best in the world, it's a pretty easy equation. I just got to do what they're doing.
100%. If they've made it here, what's stopping me from watching what they did to make it there?
Exactly. And it's no different than what you're doing right now with comedy.
100%.
I just listened to Shane Gillis talk about what you were talking about. There's not money in starting out in comedy.
No.
There's not. He was talking about like he was stoked when he got paid $50 one time. Like
Oh,
$50
100%.
is nothing, man. Like, but that recognition of like, okay, I can get paid for this. Now it's a matter of doing more of these shows and more of these shows. And then it's just the more you put yourself out there, just like competitions, the more you do, the better you're going to get. It's time on the mat, time on the stage, time dedicated to your craft. It's like that's what makes you better, and that's what gets you closer to where you want to be. You know what I mean?
100%. I still do open mic nights for no pay. It's the way for me to test out new jokes. I still I still get excited. Oh, this show pays $100. Fuck yeah, I'm getting paid to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? That's the mindset of a comedian. You know, like we'll take those at the early stages, those shit pay jobs and gigs to get the recognition because the word of mouth. I went up to Sanford, Michigan for a show. It was 5.5 hour drive for me, and the pay was $150. I spent more in gas in my truck to get there, but now there's more people from Michigan, and I keep seeing people when I check the the stats on the podcast. More people from Michigan are listening, and I have to equate that to the time I went to Sanford, Michigan on a whim. Just be like, hey, they want to book me. Fuck it, it's $150. I'm getting paid it. I'm probably going to lose money on the trip up and back with the gas, but it's exposure, and that's what we're looking for in our field for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like obviously, like you need some level of money, right? Like obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say like, you got to just do everything. Right. But if it was really about the money, you wouldn't be doing it.
No.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't be. If it was really about the money right now, if I was really about all my entire day is wake up digits, putting more money in my pocket, I wouldn't be painting and I wouldn't be fighting. I would use these degrees that I have and get a job sitting in a cubicle, bitching somebody out. You know what I mean? Wearing a suit and tie. But it's not about that. That's not the life I want to live. Like,
no.
Sure, like I'm grateful, beyond grateful to God that I have the things that I do have, and it's not a lot. But I'm grateful for not having to worry about those things and be able to chase my passion right now, man. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
It's not. I said it at the beginning of the podcast. When you're an amateur, you're not getting paid. You're doing it you're doing it for the love of it, man. Like, or just because you want to scrap. There's plenty of guys probably have no ambition of being a pro. They just want to get in a fight. Hey, man, this is what this sport's here for. It's like everybody can have different goals. It's like if it was about the money, you wouldn't be doing it.
100%.
So I don't know, man. I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I got paid for the first 2 or 3 years that I was doing comedy. It was all open mic nights, just finding anywhere where there was a stage and a microphone, just to go and make a room full of people laugh. I didn't get paid. I think the first 2 years I was doing comedy, and you get that first paid show, and that just accelerates you. Like, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing this to make money.
Think about it, like you would be ignorant. Any person would be ignorant to assume that their first time they deserve to get compensation for it.
100%.
Financially. Your compensation 100%. Is the experience.
Yeah.
If you can't see that you're getting paid in experience, like, then you have already missed the point, man.
Yep.
Like, MMA is no different. Sports are no different. It's like you don't sign up for the high school football team to make $1 million. You're doing it for the experience, for the love of the sport, and just to do it. If you commit your time and your athleticism and all this, yeah, you could get to a big college, get an NIL deal, go to the NFL. Like, yeah, that's where the money comes in. But that ain't from the start.
Right.
Why would any other craft be like that?
100%. And, I come from a very old school, traditional Italian family. My, grandfather was a steel worker. My dad was a steel worker. So very blue collar. And, trying to explain to just like that old school mentality, starting out in comedy, like, oh, well, what did you get paid? I'm getting paid in experience. I'm getting paid in stage time. I'm getting paid in people hearing my jokes and liking my jokes. That is going to pay off down the road. I might not be getting paid today, tomorrow, or a month from now, or even a year from now, but I will be getting paid for this. It's just I gotta pay my dues. And that's a great analogy that you put there. Um, it's like high school sports. You're not playing high school football or high school wrestling or even me, high school swimming because you're getting paid to do it. You're doing it because you love the sport and you're getting experience and you're making yourself better so that maybe one day, yeah, you can, make some money off of it. And that's honestly the best analogy I've heard. And it equates to both of our professions. And I love that for sure. I never even thought of it that way. That's a great mindset to have for sure.
Yeah, man.
And
For sure.
Chris, hell, I feel like I could talk to you all day, but we are running down here near the end of the episode here. I do got to get this last segment in here before we end. And for anybody who has listened to the show before, it is the Fast 55. 5 random questions from the wonderful manager of the podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone. For those of you who have not heard or are new listeners to the show, this is kind of a rapid fire question and answer. They have nothing to do with what we've been talking about for the better part of this about 45 minutes to an hour now. So, Chris, like I said, the rapid fire, but you can elaborate if you feel you need to. So if you are ready, we'll get started with the Fast 55.
Come on, man. I'm game.
All righty. Question number 1. Is the number 38 or the number 47 a worst football number to wear?
Shit, I don't really know anything about football, so I would say they both suck. If you're not one, you're not it.
I love that answer. Question number 2. Have you ever been skydiving?
Nah. Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm so terrified of heights. Fuck that. Question number 3. What's your favorite sports movie?
Damn. That's a good one. I don't know if I could be quick about that. Warrior's a great movie. Miracle, is that the one about the hockey?
Oh yeah,
that's a great movie. I mean, Rocky, dude, I don't know. There's so many good ones. Like even sports I've never played. Angels in the Outfield. Like I never played baseball, but I like that movie, man.
There's so many good sports movies. I feel like he cheated you with that question. There's no right answer to that question.
There's no right answer. I'll just say all of those,
all of them,
all of the above.
I got you. All right, question number 4. What's the best meat to get from the deli?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't really get deli meat. I would say like from the butcher, you gotta get a steak, and the butcher's right next to there. And if I'm feeling bougie, I'll get a ribeye. Right, that's my cut. That's my cut of steak. 100% a ribeye. Not many people know, or maybe they do. I don't know. But if you look at the chuck roast, you can find the part of the chuck that's right next to the ribeye. They're touching on the cow, and you can find part of the chuck will look exactly like a ribeye. You just cut it off from the other side, and the chuck roast usually comes like this big, dude. You cut it in half. You got 2 steaks, way cheaper than ribeye. I just gave out the secret to the people.
You just dropped a knowledge bomb on everybody for that one.
Though, not every chuck roast is gonna have that. I don't know what it is. I'm not like a butcher, like the cap or whatever, but it'll look like a ribeye is right next to it. They make 2 steaks out of it. There's a Denver steak, which almost looks like a New York strip without a fat cap, and then there's a part that looks like a ribeye. You gotta look when you go to Costco or whatever next, man. Look.
I'm 100% going to be looking next time I go to the butcher. There's no chance I'm not looking.
I mean, dude, we're talking about $13 a pound versus like less than $5 a pound. It's easy 100%. Math. I ain't a mathematician, but that's easy math.
Easy math. And question number 5 here is: orange juice overrated or underrated?
I don't know. I think it's probably underrated. I think you drink it a lot when you're a kid and you stop drinking it so much as an adult. And I had some before training today and I felt great. Those carbs, maybe the vitamins too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like it. I don't think you should make a habit of drinking a gallon of it a day, but I'm not a nutritionist neither, so.
I gotcha. Well, that was the Fast 55. Like I said, he comes up with some of the craziest questions for this segment. It's hysterical every time we run this segment at the end of every show. It's just the way his mind works. Like he sends these to me like all day, every day. I get texts from Johnny, and it's all these questions. And it's
Yeah,
not
man.
for it. It's just the way his mind works, and he has to get them out. So now we get them out on the show every week.
Well, he's got some answers, at least my answers. I don't know.
Those are great answers. I'm not going to lie to you. Those were phenomenal answers. But, Chris, I do give every guest this opportunity at the end of every show. I'm going to give you about a minute if there's anything you want to get out there, whether it's an upcoming fight for either you or somebody that you're training with or for the gym, or even if it's just a positive message. I'm going to give you about a minute. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I'll say first, I do have a fight. I have a 185-pound title fight for BCM on June 21st. That's going to be down in Millersburg, Ohio. And then, I just want to say shout out to my team. I know you said Billy's already been on here, Tony, Luke, and DJ's coming on. Those are my coaches, so I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in without them. And then the only other thing I can say is, like, I'm a man of faith, and I'm by no means am I pushing this on anybody, but it's like, if you want to find real purpose in your life, look for Jesus, man, and just follow the word, read the Gospels, and see it. Even if you don't believe, there's things in there in Psalms and Proverbs that are just great wisdom for humans just to live by. And people have been struggling with the same things we've been struggling with this entire human history. So if you're struggling with something, open it up and just read it. Check it out. Check the word out.
That is great. I love helping people promote anything that they got going on with the show, but I love it when there's a good message at the end of the show and guests have a good message. So thank you for that. That was great for sure. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. I want to thank my guest, Chris the Grit Dredgen, for joining the show. I think I just butchered your name again, man. I apologize.
Droege. It's all
Droege.
good.
I knew I was going to.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I got you, but thank you for joining. But as always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Dubby Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rocket on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.